One of the most important and easiest stretches to do with your horse are carrot stretches. These stretches affect the extensor muscles of the neck and the entire back. Tension is commonly held here and affects all aspects of the horse's movement. I recommend having a special treat that is only given for the stretches, such as a carrot, so your horse will learn to associate this treat with the activity. Another option is to wear a glove that you only put on when stretching. This allows you to use any treat you happen to have available. The first exercise is for the extensor muscles of the upper neck and poll. Hold your treat near your horse's mouth with their head in an upright position. Bring your hand straight back towards the middle of their neck. Have your horse hold this for about 10 seconds and then reward with the treat. If this is difficult for your horse, I suggest repeating it 2 to 3 times and holding it for a shorter period. The next exercise will stretch the middle neck extensor muscles. To perform this stretch, you want to hold the treat in front of your horse's mouth and guide their nose towards the sternum or the breastbone. You want to end the stretch with their nose between the front legs as close to the chest as possible. Again, you want to hold the stretch for about 10 seconds, or if your horse has really tight muscles, you can hold for a shorter length of time, but you need to repeat it 2 to 3 times. Make sure you reward the horse with the treat while they are in the stretch, so they are rewarded for stretching and not for stopping. The next exercise not only gets the lower neck extensors, but also provides a stretch to the major back extensors, like the longissimus dorsi. These muscles are commonly tight because not only are they important for forward movement, but they do the work of supporting you as the rider. This stretch looks like you are teaching your horse to bow. A horse cannot see a treat held in front of their nose, and to properly do the stretch, you have to be holding a treat from behind and between their front legs. To teach this to a horse, you will need a treat in each hand. The hand closest to the horse's head holds a treat in front of their mouth and guides the head down towards the other hand that is between the front legs. The tricky part is getting the horse to switch from the first treat to following the treat that is in the hand between the legs. If the first treat is moved away too quickly, they will pick their head up and you will have to start again. Once the horse is following the treat in the hand between the legs, you want to guide their nose close to the ground and between their front hooves. Sometimes a horse will slightly bend one of their knees. Don't allow more than a slight bend or the stretch will not be as effective. Hold for 10 to 15 seconds and make sure you give the treat while the horse is in the stretch. Once the horse learns this stretch, you can usually show them the treat and then tap the inside of one of the front legs as a cue to bend down and find it. This next stretch is very important to keep your horse bending evenly in both directions. This stretches the neck, middle back, and some abdominal muscles like the abdominal obliques. Most horses have a good side that stretches more easily than the other. Pebbles here is very flexible and can bend all the way to her haunches on both sides pretty evenly. The goal is to eventually get the horse to be able to stretch that far, but be patient, and if you have an older horse or a very large horse, you may never achieve this, and that's okay. You want the horse to stretch to the best of their ability. When teaching your horse this stretch, have them against a wall or a fence so they won't turn around instead of bending. Start by holding the treat in front of their mouth and slowly having them turn their neck in an arc. Make sure your horse's head is not tipped horizontally. You don't ever want to go higher than the point of the hip. You can hold this stretch at different positions, but make sure you reward the horse whenever you ask them to hold. The higher their nose is, the more abdominal muscles are engaged, and the stretch also becomes an abdominal crunch. The advanced form of the lateral neck stretch is a little more difficult and requires patience and a lot of trust from your horse. Once they learn this stretch, most horses absolutely love it. This version of the stretch allows the horse not only to stretch, but to relieve tension and pressure on their poll. You start this stretch the same as with a lateral neck stretch by holding the treat and encouraging your horse to bend their neck towards the shoulder. Once the horse's nose is even with the shoulder, bend your knees, crouching down a little, and place your hand under the chin and lift their head so it rests on your shoulder. Then with one hand on the halter, you can use the other hand and place it gently on their pole to keep their head in position on your shoulder while you slowly stand up. Some horses will shift around until they get the position for the best stretch. Be patient and move with them. You can also move a little to increase or decrease the bend in the horse's neck until they are comfortable and relaxed. You can hold this stretch for as long as the horse wants you to. The neck stretch helps to increase mobilization of the upper cervical vertebrae and pull muscles, as well as stretching the neck flexors. To start, it helps to do this with the horse in a stall or behind a fence so they can't walk forward. Hold the treat in front of their mouth and slowly raise your hand until their head is in line with their back. Then slowly move the treat away from the horse so they have to stretch forward. Have them hold this position for 10 seconds, or if they are very tight, hold for a shorter period of time, but repeat this 2 to 3 more times.